Oh, really? To correct this, should we try a vasectomy?
Vasectomy for masturbation.
What was their logic?
우리는 닥터 friends.
Hi,
Dr. Friends.
Yes, today we're thankful bizarre medical history. Thankful and bizarre. Quite unique.
They're clamoring for a book.
I know, right? I consult many books, so it might not be easy. Writing a novel.
Reenactment on the show Surprise. Make it content.
You know, our broadcast appeared on Surprise? What? Gloves history.
Really?
Aired after our show. Really? Reference stars?
What?
They're watching.
Thank you.
Anyway, today, vasectomy history.
Sounds scary.
Preparing. I thought it needed its own session.
Some don't know vasectomy.
What's vasectomy? Explain. Urine and semen paths differ. That's right. Path from testicles to urethra. On that path, they cut it.
Not June.
I personally, after having my second child in the army,
Had vasectomy
Yes.
to avoid having more children.
we have footage from that time. Let's cut.
We wait.
But this history isn't that long.
Think about it. We know this as contraception, right? If you trace back this history, you find something surprising. When was the first record of the vas deferens? How long has it been since humanity anatomically recognized the vas deferens? Maybe modern era.
Seems recent.
Need to dissect and no semen comes from there. Incredible.
Back to 300 BC.
How back then? They were really keen on this, even if other dissections were unclear. It was hard to tell if it was dissection or imagination.
Exactly.
But the details were precise. The tests, epidermis, vas, deferens, seminal vesicles, and arteries and veins were described back then, 300 BC, during humus theory. Yeah, same time, they knew it,
That's amazing.
Amazing.
isn't it? But even long before that, they knew that some part of the tests was related to male reproductive function.
Already?
Yeah, way before. They were keen. How did they know? It's the history of war. I have a friend, Chang Yun. He was healthy with lots of hair.
We fought with the upper village, he got hit, and it was gone.
It got cut. It got cut off. Then he lost hair, weakened, and couldn't have kids. Guys like that can't have kids. Testes must be linked to reproduction.
If damaged, reproduction stops. Knowing this, you understand.
Right, so when was this brought into clinical use?
You know about eunuchs, right? When was the first record of a eunuch?
Wasn't it China?
No.
2nd century BC.
Really?
Records exist of Sumerian eunuchs with removed tests in the 21st century BC.
Isn't Sumer in Mesopotamia?
Yes, in Mesopotamia, one of the first civilizations. It was like a primitive vasectomy aimed at removing reproductive function, especially for the king's concerns. Right. They did it for protection, but didn't know exactly how.
Removed all.
Really horrifying.
Vasectomy has a 4,000-year history. With trepanation, old.
Wow, it really is.
Weren't there concerns about infection and complications?
Records show that, according to Chinese records, about half of them died. Back then, becoming a eunuch wasn't something a regular person would do. It was usually people who were very poor or the children of traders who had no other path to success. Since becoming a eunuch allowed you to stay close to the emperor and gain power, they went in with tremendous determination. They used something like a cauterizing iron to stop the bleeding. There were in and special tools for it. But these things differ by country. With proper anatomical knowledge, when did they start doing such surgeries?
Earlier than thought?
3rd century AD. No, 17th century. 17th century, yes. It wasn't done on humans first, but on dogs. When they cut the dog's vas deferens, they found it wasn't a blood vessel, but a hollow nerve-like structure.
Sperm or semen traveled through there. After repeatedly doing this, they found some dogs had a white substance inside it. So they thought this must be the vas deferens, and it likely serves that function. But performing this on humans was taboo at the time. In medieval Europe, contraception was a kind of crime.
Back then, even masturbation was considered a crime and was punishable because religiously the union between man and woman was seen as a sacred act meant for procreation. To avoid that with surgery, that was extreme heresy. If performed, both doctor and patient risked death. Devil's surgery.
Devil's surgery. Devil's surgery.
That's how it was back then, but it was only applied to humans in 1857.
From medieval to modern.
Yes, after medieval times and the Renaissance during the Industrial Revolution, a French urologist, Louis Auguste Mercier, was remarkable. But vasectomy had a different purpose back then.
Why then? Now it's to prevent having more children.
Exactly. Nowadays it's to block sperm production. But back then, prostate enlargement made urination difficult.
Right.
So the vasectomy of that time, although called a vasectomy, was essentially like castration. The testicles were left inside, but they lost function.
What is it?
Without male hormones, prostate enlargement naturally improved, or at least didn't get worse. Removing the entire testicle looked bad and was horrifying for the patient, so they precisely stopped hormone secretion instead.
What year was it?
1857,
Anesthesia?
man again. Either anesthesia was available around 1850.
That's a relief.
Think about it. Prostate enlargement affects urination, and doing that without anesthesia.
Exactly, so
Unthinkable. Really horrible.
There's a report of improved urinary symptoms. Of course, more common is prostatectomy, but it's really daunting because it's open surgery. What's open surgery?
It's where you cut open the abdomen to reach and cut the prostate. Because of this, Louis Auguste Mercier created this alternative, but it was seen as diminishing masculinity. People were divided between removing the prostate directly or opting for fear. Then someone thought, what if we just tie off the vas deferens? Then rejuvenation could be possible.
Semen.
With this idea, male hormones would focus on enhancing vitality rather than producing sperm, possibly resulting in rejuvenation.
back then there seemed to be
Logical
some
back
logic to it.
then. In 1920, an Austrian physician named Eugen Steinitz thought this. With hormones emerging, they realized declining sex hormones reduced energy. In America, radiation was a proposed solution then. But this person aimed for less harm. Dreams, hopes, and ruin.
It was chaotic early 20th century. But then chaos
By
reigned.
tying this, sperm production would stop so the energy could be used elsewhere, claiming that vitality and sexual desire would recover. The strange thing is, after the surgery, there were reports from Vienna that people felt better. There was likely a placebo. Regarding vitality, placebos are strong.
Oh, incredibly strong.
Surgery for vitality, then you just have to believe it.
Anyway, when you do something invasive,
You've done it.
the placebo effect can be significant.
Very significant. In 1920, over 100 male scientists, doctors, professors, and wealthy, educated men in Vienna underwent this so-called rejuvenation surgery, a vasectomy. Dr. Steinach called it the Steinjuvenation surgery, and it was a trend in Europe.
No Nobel Prize,
No Nobel Prize. A Nobel for this.
but for lobotomy.
Lobotomy one. Could for this. Vasectomy doesn't stop Simon, but they claimed it stopped sperm. It was seen as a cute case. There's a more gruesome example in America. Dr. Harry Sharp in 1899 at the Indiana Reformatory, a juvenile center. Complaints arose about a 19-year-old inmate. He seemed to masturbate excessively. To correct this, they suggested cutting the vas deferens.
Cut it for masturbation.
So what was the logic they were thinking?
If they stop sperm, might somehow reduce. Then maybe his urges will decrease. That's what they thought.
Maybe possible.
They cut it. He reported. Personality improved. He stopped masturbating and seemed smarter. It's nonsense. After this was reported, it was tried on some inmates. But this is nothing. Early vasectomies had another main purpose.
At that time, a very disturbing and horrific theory became popular. What?
Where?
There are superior and inferior genes, so it's right to eliminate inferior ones. This mindset emerged.
Generations?
Yes, for future generations. So they did involuntary vasectomies on criminals and the mentally ill. Horrible. Horrible history. It's mixed. At this time, the technique for vasectomy itself advanced tremendously and was almost perfected. Over 20 years, hundreds of thousands of people underwent vasectomy. Someone pushed it politically, someone well known.
Hitler.
Feels like Hitler. Hitler pushed this very hard.
Targeted Jews.
Yes, Jews, gypsies, non-Aryans, and people with disabilities. They kept performing surgeries until this dark period passed. Now, vasectomy equals voluntary sterilization. It became popular because if it's hard, more kids, you get it done. Well, they cut it. But feelings change.
They can change.
Feelings can change, right? After 2 years, you might regret it. In 1938, the first vasectomy reversal succeeded.
Restoration surgery. It succeeded. But that was just a few years later. Then in 1945, it proved possible after 5 years, boosting popularity. In 1960, a study reported
They surveyed 50 people who had the surgery. 5 said their libido decreased, but 9 said it increased. 4 had less sex, but 8 reported more.
So it's linked to potency.
Yeah, the much more is important. Look at this, so it spread like crazy. Initially, the groin incision was large, cutting directly. Then they did 2 excisions near the vas deferens, later 1. And now, without excision. How do you cut without cutting? They perform surgery without a scalpel, just using a needle. Ultrasound vasectomy, with a quick snap, the device inside pops out.
It's a 4,000-year-old surgery that has evolved over
There's a bit of
time through
sad.
such a rich history.
Even horrific history. And there is indeed a horrific history. It wasn't about skill, but there are many such stories. Even just the history of contraception is extensive, so I chose one part.
We'll keep going. Thanks.
Thank you.